Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow, and I've been sitting here crunching a little bit and working on some historic price values over periods of time, trying to figure out what should we expect. Have we hit the Bitcoin bottom, or is there more pain to come? And I'm pretty sure we've got more pain to come. So stick around. I'll be right back. And we're going to dive into this. We're going to get pretty descriptive.
If it's bull or bear, I don't care. It's quite a rough ride, just like life. But I'm kind of patient, 'cause only time will tell.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. It's 11:34 a.m. I figured I would record this video, and I'm trying to do it in more high definition because I want to make sure that you're able to see the numbers. With my crappy internet connection here where I live still, it's difficult to create big, long videos because it could take a day to upload them, and I'm not kidding. It's ridiculous. And going live, well, we know how that typically pans out. So I'm going to try and keep this video fairly short because I want it seen and I want it contemplated. Let me preface this video by basically saying I'm not acting on this, okay? Because anything could happen. But I think there's a lot of correlation between what has historically happened in Bitcoin's price cycles, its halving cycles, as well as where I think we are right now and what is ultimately happening right now on a global level, both politically and economically, and how I believe that could be playing into what we're seeing and not seeing yet in the Bitcoin price cycle. Okay. This is digital number sleuthing is basically what it boils down to for me. Call it what you will, call it predictions, call it I don't know. It'll either be prophecy or garbage. We're just going to have to wait and find out. But I think it's actually pretty important to look at. And I'm only doing this video because I was doing this for my own sanity, trying to figure out what I think things are, what is happening. And then I thought, I think I got it. I'm going to go ahead and do a video on this because this is important. So here we go. All right. So if we're looking at the chart right now, well, this is a weekly chart. And we're looking at Bitcoin on a weekly chart, and we can see here that from the bottom of 2015, that's what this is here. We start this out at the bottom of 2015, and we move the price action all the way to that peak, okay? And we're looking at 11,831%, give or take, in price action to the upside, okay? A significant, nearly 12,000% increase in Bitcoin's price. From the bottom, it was somewhere around $100-something or so, all the way up to, well, this is 2017, and it's about 20 grand. Now, this is when, I got into crypto basically November. I actually got in about July is where I actually started in my crypto space. I built my miner. I started learning about it and things. I didn't start my YouTube channel until November. And, that was a time when I was like, wow, everything I invested into just turned to gold. I mean, literally everything was just going up, up, up. And I didn't really feel right about it. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't quite understand how would it be possible. It didn't make sense. And, people would ask me, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. A gut feeling. I don't know. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. It just kind of happens that way. And then, of course, we saw the peak and we started to decline. Now, excuse me. Now we moved down in price. And I did this. You're going to see these boxes presented a certain way for a reason. This here is 217 days after the peak, and we were down. We saw this wick here as we were heading towards the bottom, and that was at 58.54. Okay. And that was way too soon to be a bottom, and it wasn't. And it continued. We peaked up a little bit, and then we came back down. This 217 days is about where I think the actual bottom could have been in hindsight, right? Hindsight's 2020. We're kind of getting rid of that. And I'm thinking to myself, where would we go from here if this were maybe a fake bottom, okay? Or this here was maybe a fake bottom, a fake low of around $5,800. Why did I ask that? Well, because if we go forward and we look at where we're at currently, this is 217 days, okay? And I know what you're thinking, because I see the comments and I see everybody out there. Even when I called the market peak and then I called a double peak at the top and everybody, but you can't base it off of what happened in the past. Yeah, I get it. It's not a definitive thing, okay? Anything could happen. And there are time and day fluctuations in price action, bottoms, tops, all of that stuff. So if you look at each consecutive cycle, there are variables to the specifics of each cycle, yet they all generally end up in the same place. That is what is odd to me. This is why I've said that I've believed since inception, there's been some form of algorithm basically channeling Bitcoin's price action over time to create market cycles against the halving. So from here, so this is 217 days out. Well, we're beyond that now. And if you look, we more or less peaked up a little bit and then started coming back down. And now it looks like we're into a little reversal, right? We're maybe, and this is basically leading everybody to think, oh, wow, we bottomed at 17.5 back here. And that doesn't seem to fit, right? But yeah, this line would be 217 days after the peak, and we're already past that. But this 217 day mark is where we expected to have bottomed. If we look back here at 217 days after the peak, well, what happened? We went sideways for a while. We got a little uptick, okay? And then it went sideways 154 days out, and then we actually bottomed. All right? This is important. This is important because while there are a lot of people right now saying we've already bottomed, there are variables to what's happening right now that I don't think we were getting back here, okay? This was 2018 when we actually bottomed, and we bottomed around 3,000. Some people say 4,000. I guess it depends on the exchange chart you're looking at. From here, we had, 511 days just to the halving. And that's when we started our channel, our up and down channel, as we just we went sideways for a little while longer, all the way into 2019. And then we got like a little bear market pump, right? And this bear market pump hit around 14,000, around 14,000. And then it continued to go all the way back down to its bottom. So we got a bear market pump here. I see a lot of TikTokers and I see a lot of people out there basically calling this a melt up or they have different names for it. And maybe that does happen, but it's not happening just yet. Now, to go back here, this is 217 days. We went sideways for a while after a little bit of a tear up. Okay, this hit looks like it hit 8,400 from a peak of 20,000. So that hit, and then we went sideways again, and then we bottomed out, officially hit a bottom. And I've been looking at variables and kind of confluence, if you will, as to what other different things took place when this bottomed, okay? And you can find similarities all over the place there. But if you can see here, we hit this bottom yet again. It gets crazy. So as we move forward here, 217 days, this is our quote unquote current bottom. We got our little tick up, right? Same thing as the last cycle. And then the last cycle, we more or less went sideways, but here we've been moving down a little bit. And now we're starting to tick up just a tad, but we haven't broke above these $25,000 marks. Now, if what happened in the previous cycle happened here, well, at that point, let's take a look, see, okay? Because if this was the real bottom and this was the fake bottom, that was down another 64.74% from here to here. This alone, this little area here was over almost 65% down from that first, what we would have assumed to be the bottom then. Well, we're about here now. So technically we're already past this point. So the question is, is this already been priced in? Has there been enough adoption, enough holders, what variables are different now? Is it the institutions that have entered the space? What is keeping this up? And will this be a fake out? And will we break down for a significant drop one last time for the official bottom before we turn around and move up yet again and start heading into our halving? If we look at this from where we should have been, okay, if we look at this in terms of, so this is down 64.86% from this point, okay? Let's take it from here. This is only 59% down, all right? Now, I drew this little line a while back because I had kind of a little theory as to what I thought would happen. And looking at this, what is going on right now in the world that may be playing a factor in this not having just dropped? We got this is a market cipher. We got the yellow X. We could have went substantially down. This typically means significant sell-offs or manipulation of the market. We didn't see that. Somehow this has been held up. Why? Well, what do we know is happening? Tomorrow, we know that the midterm election is happening. We've seen videos and things of certain efforts put in place to try and keep oil prices at a certain level until at least after midterms. What else? What other efforts have been put into place to try and sustain where we are economically in terms of the stock markets, bonds, crypto, as institutions, and everybody has been entering the space? What could that mean? What may happen after these midterms and it no longer matters for another couple years? I think that is when we will likely see our big drop and our final drop in our official bottom. Now, this line doesn't necessarily mean much because I did this as, kind of a joke, but not really. A thing, basically I was spelling out how sometimes when we get significant action in the 2003 on NASDAQ chart, we typically do the opposite in crypto. When we're sideways or we're slowly going in a particular direction, it tends to match with the NASDAQ. But if the NASDAQ pumps, typically the crypto is going to go down and vice versa. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, the NASDAQ pumped pretty significantly, pretty quickly here. And that could either be construed as the midway pump like we saw in the past that I just saw, or, and I know this is like, oh, it could be up or down. It's not my intention. I actually think we're going to go down. And I think we're going to go in reverse of this. I think we're going to get our sharp spike down where we're likely, in my opinion. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just some idiot on the internet, and I'm old and I'm forgetful. I'm not perfect. I'm always right sometimes. But I think we're going to get our downtrend coming after the election. And, this is showing the price action in February of 23. So this is talking about January, February of 2023, at which point, if this were to play out, let's say that's the case, that leaves 448 days until the halving. And there are some similarities in, here's the halving. And then here's the official bottom here. That's 511 days. So I would say that we would still be within what would be expected from an actual bottom to a halving. I just think it's all being pushed forward a little bit somehow. Now, maybe this is just me being a tinfoil hatter. Maybe this is just me being, I don't know, a Looney Tune. I don't know. But when I'm looking at the numbers and I'm looking at how things play it out, and I'm looking at how things are going, what things I know have taken place in preparation for these midterms to try and get any leg up possible, to try and get any kind of, it's not so bad, vote. I think that may be very well what is happening. We're going to find out soon because, after the 8th and into the 9th and 10th, I mean, this is November. This candle here hasn't formed yet. This is going to be Monday, the 14th. We're going to know. And if we were to look at how it could potentially line up, it's showing a peak here. It's showing an uptrend here over the course of a week. Are we going to see this uptrend? Are we going to match it? Are we going to reverse? Are we going to go in the opposite direction of that and come down? But I'm just going to leave it at this. At a negative 58% price point from here, we would be looking at, let's take a look and then we will go from there. So let's say that this is the fake bottom and then we come down to the real bottom. That could take us to $7,100 in Bitcoin. How long that takes to play out, I don't know. Will it play out by February, by January, February? Will we get our official bottom somewhere around here? I think given the circumstances and how this has played out, I think the potential bottom of Bitcoin will very likely end up being somewhere around $9,500, $9,600. And at that point, I think that it will be in a comfortable bottom position. It will start getting bought up significantly, and we'll start seeing our reversal, at which point we'll start establishing a trade channel that will start happening over the course of, February until the next halving. And I think we're going to be sideways with some pretty significant monthly ebbs and flows until the halving, at which point we'll start seeing our uptrend and our basically our reversal into a bull market. Not a parabolic run, not a parabolic bull market, but the entry stages of the bull market where the bottom has officially been in. So to me, regardless of what happens, these are exciting times because, as I've been saying, video after video, now is the time to build and prepare. Now is the time to accumulate and educate. Now is the time to get things done that, basically during this break, which I consider a bear market kind of a break, where what you do today isn't necessarily going to matter as much tomorrow because we've got time as the market continues shaking out those who don't want to be here. And the rest of us who are in the know a little bit more than others, who've been through these cycles, who have seen these come time and again, and better work towards understanding what may very well be happening and how to prepare for these bottoms. Now, the one last caveat I want to add to this, we're at 18 minutes in this video, is that even if Bitcoin bottoms here, let's say Bitcoin did bottom somewhere around, I don't know, let's call it $7,500 to $9,500. Well, even if that's the case, the altcoin market is likely going to go down a little bit further, typically 10 to 20% below the bottom of Bitcoin. All right. Now, some of these coins, it may already be priced in. And that's ultimately going to depend on the tokenomics and what's going on overall in the market. But typically when Bitcoin bottoms, the altcoin markets typically go down a little further because money from Bitcoin goes into the altcoins or vice versa. Sorry, because when Bitcoin bottoms, money comes out of the altcoins into Bitcoin to start riding that little trend up. And then once we get that little pump and a little reversal in Bitcoin's price action, that's typically when people start accumulating those altcoins again at lower prices. And so listen, I hope everything works out. I hope you're doing well. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I'm going to cut it here. Hopefully this was informative and educational and gives you some eye-opening numbers to work with or ponder as we move forward. I think the elections are going to play a pretty big role in the short term. We'll have to wait and see. Until next time, guys, please like, subscribe. Tired of bleeding subscribers. I put out really good content. But in the meantime, enjoy your week, and I'll see you again soon. Crow your coins.